Hello, Erica here, and today I'm going to do a quick November wrap-up and a quick December TBR. I'm sorry that I posted, basically no videos at all in November. I was very burnt out from doing a video every day in October. I've also just had a lot going on and haven't really been in the mood to film. Sorry. But I'm here now. I'm not doing Vlogmas because, like I said, I just did a video every day in October, and I cannot do that again. It's a lot of work. But cheers to everyone who is doing Vlogmas. I can't wait to see what everyone puts out. Anyway, I had a pretty calm reading month in November. It's my slowest reading month easily this year, by half. I think I read half of what I normally do, which is crazy. But I did read some really cool things, and we will talk about them. I read almost nothing on my TBR. I started trying to read for my TBR that I'd set up for November, and then, like I said, I've had a lot going on. I've been really stressed out, and I couldn't handle the extra pressure of reading things that I said I was going to read, so I just started kind of picking things that suited my mood. So the first thing I read in November was the illustrated Harry Potter, which was on my TBR for #ReadKidsLit. This, if you have not already seen it, is absolutely beautiful. If you are a Harry Potter fan, you must have this. And I'm excited because now I can participate a little bit in Harry Christmas to You, which is going on this December, and I will be picking up with the second book. I'm going to try and do the second, third, and fourth books, probably on audiobook, because Audible just released them all, and I'm super excited to get my hands on those and start listening, because they're wonderfully done. Anyway, this is amazing. It's illustrated by Jim Kay, and I loved it, of course. The illustrations just added so much more to it, and of course I give this 5 stars. In November, I also finished the 2 books that I was carrying over from October. The first one is Geek Love by Katherine Dunn. This is a really messed up story. It's about a family who kind of has their own traveling circus/freak show. And when the mother is pregnant, she purposely induces birth defects, so all of her children are born with crazy birth defects. And it's just kind of the story of their family and how they get by and their kind of interfamilial relationships. It's really messed up. It's really, really wonderfully written, though. I listened to about half of this on audiobook, and I do recommend the audiobook. It was very good. The rest of it I read, and the characters are so unique. The story is so unique. One thing that some people I know do struggle with this book is that the narration jumps around in time, and it's sometimes a little bit difficult to tell where you are at and kind of get that frame of reference going on. I also felt like there were a couple of characters that I would have liked to see develop a little bit more, but overall I thought this was a really, really well done book. I think that Katherine Dunn is very talented, and I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I also read Radiance by Catherine M. Valente. This is her brand new release. It just came out in October. It is very hard to describe. Catherine Valente kind of plays with genres a lot in this book. This is very much like a space opera meets old Hollywood, kind of like noir type atmosphere. So it's the story of this woman named Severin and her father, who's a famous film producer. And Severin kind of rebels against her father's old school black and white, very noir mystery movies, and decides to make documentaries on a bunch of different planets, some of which are very dangerous. It's not told in a traditional narrative style. I am going to do a full review of this because I have a lot to say. So I'm going to leave it at that. I gave this book 5 stars. It blew my mind. It's one of the best books I've read this year. So we will talk about this more later because I could ramble about it for a really long time. And then because I was so stressed out, I was just in the mood for something fun. So I read The Alloy of Law and Shadows of Self by Brandon Sanderson. This is the 4th and 5th book in the Mistborn series by Brandon Sanderson. The Alloy of Law was good. While I was reading both of these, I was just really sad that they weren't a continuation of the original Mistborn trilogy. So these books are set, I think, 300 years in the future from the original Mistborn trilogy, and they are set in kind of this Wild West type of world, which is really interesting. And they're much more I wouldn't say action-packed, but I think they're much more action-driven, where Mistborn really focused on kind of the characters and the world building. I think that because this is kind of a continuation of the series, these two kind of skipped that element, which I missed, and they were very action-driven. I gave The Alloy of Law 3 stars. In Shadows of Self, I came to appreciate the characters a little bit more. They started to grow on me, so I ended up giving this one 4 stars. Then I read this tiny little book called Will You Still Love Me If I Wet the Bed by Liz Prince. It's a collection of comic strips. I met Liz Prince at North Carolina Comic Con, so my edition is signed, which is really cute. And it's just about relationships and her relationship with this gentleman in particular. It was really cute. I gave it 3 stars. I have her graphic memoir called Tomboy, also that I got from her at Comic-Con and got signed. So I'm really excited to see more of what she does. But this was a really fun little quick read. It would make a great stocking stuffer for somebody who you may have affection for. Was that a sentence that I just said? I don't know. Okay, the last thing that I finished reading in November, I told you this was going to be quick, was White Oleander by Janet Fetch. I did this because Jenny from Adultish Books was hosting a read-along with the hashtag YoMamaRead, and it is one of her favorite books of all time, and I've been wanting to pick this up for years and years and years. I saw the movie, I think, when it first came out, and I really liked the movie. Luckily, it had been years since I'd seen the movie, so it didn't rub off on me too badly when I was reading. This is one of the most beautiful books that I've ever read. It is the story of Astrid, who ends up in foster care while her mother is in prison and goes through a series of foster homes and really different and really traumatic experiences. It's not an easy story to swallow. I mean, it's really heartbreaking. But it's so wonderfully done. I love Astrid as a character. I think she's absolutely amazing. And I thought all of the characters were really fun and really well developed. And then I watched the movie recently, and that was exciting. So I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars. It was definitely worth picking up, and I really enjoyed it. I started 2 more books in November that I didn't quite finish. The first one is Fortune Smiles by Adam Johnson. I recently hauled this. I have a signed edition, and this just won the National Book Award, which is very exciting. It's the 2nd year in a row that a collection of short stories has won the National Book Award for Fiction, so I'm really stoked about that. I have now currently read 4 of these stories. They are absolutely amazing. If the last 2 stories in this collection are as good as the first 4, this will most definitely be one of the best books that I've read this year. So I am currently working on that. And I am also reading My Life in Middlemarch by Rebecca Mead, which is kind of about the author's relationship with the book Middlemarch and how it's kind of shaped her as a young person and also as an adult, and how it shaped her reading experiences and things like that. I'm enjoying this. It's good. I was not the biggest fan of Middlemarch when I read it this year, though, so I think this would be much better for fans of Middlemarch because, dude, Rebecca Mead loves Middlemarch a lot. So I will probably be finishing this month as well. As for my plans for December, I'm currently, of course, reading these 2 books. I am also currently reading Ancillary Mercy by Ann Leckie, which is the 3rd and final book in the Imperial trilogy that started with Ancillary Justice. This I will fly through. I just started it last night, and I cannot wait to finish this. There's a lot going on in December. Like I said, I'm going to try and participate in some Harry Christmas to You because I really like reading Harry Potter around the holidays. I'm also doing a challenge to myself where I'm reading a short story or a novella every day until Christmas, at least. Might turn into every day of the month, but kind of like an advent calendar type thing. I'm going to read either a short story or novella for the first 24 days of the month for sure. So today, when I'm filming this, is the 2nd. So I started last night with the 4th short story in Fortune Smiles, and then I'll finish the last 2 stories in this. Then I'm also finally going to finish Vampires in the Lemon Grove. I read the first 2 stories in this collection a long time ago, and I just never picked it back up. I really enjoy this collection, though, and I think that Karen Russell does some really cool things with the short story form, so I'm looking forward to finishing these up. And then I'll also be reading The Last Animal by Abby Jeannie, not sure. This is one of Mercedes from Mercy's Bookish Musings favorite collections of short stories, and I have been dying to get to it for a very long time, so I'm really excited to get to these. And then, because those 3 books do not have enough short stories in them collectively to get me through 24 days, I have picked up some of my Melville House, Art of the Novella books. I have a subscription to Melville House, so I get sent 2 of these every month. I'm really behind on reading them, though. I promised myself that if I got the subscription, that I would actually read those 2 books a month before I got the next 2 books, and I'm super behind. So I have 5 of these that I'm hoping to get to. I have The Diamond as Big as the Ritz by F. Scott Fitzgerald, The Lifted Veil by George Eliot, A Simple Heart by Gustave Flaubert, The Dead by James Joyce, and The Man That Corrupted Hadleyburg by Mark Twain. So hopefully I can also get to all of these. I'm going to try, since these are a little bit longer than your average short story, I'm going to try to get to these on the weekends and then work through these during the week. So that is basically all I have planned for December. I have toyed around with possibly also picking up The Wise Man's Fear, which is the second book in the Kingkiller Chronicles, which is the second book in the Kingkiller Chronicles by Patrick Rothfuss, but I don't know. It's like 1,000 pages, so I do not know if I'm going to get to that this month. Work is really crazy, and I don't have like a Christmas break. I get off on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, and that's it. So we'll see what happens there. I might also be participating in Christmas Booktubeathon, especially since I didn't get to participate in the full Booktubeathon this summer, but I am not promising anything. I'm trying not to make any plans. I think that this short story project is manageable, and it'll help me knock a few books off my physical TBR before we ring in the new year. So hopefully I will not neglect you all for the rest of the month again. I'm really sorry about that last month. I do have some videos that I need to film, and I will be doing that, I guess. Anyway, please tell me about what you read in November, what your favorite book was. Illustrated Harry Potter is kind of a gimme, but Radiance really blew my mind this month, so that was my favorite. And I didn't read a bad book, which is awesome. Let me know if you're doing anything fun for the end of the year, if you're trying to push through some books to meet your Goodreads challenge, or what have you, whatever's going on. And I will hopefully be back soon. Bye, y'all.